and welcome to seventh grade math. All right, so been a while, but we're here again. So this is what we're going to talk about. Okay, so we're going to go into a series called percentages, and we're going to deal with more than just percentages. It's going to be percentage of decimals and fractions. So don't get scared, don't get panicked. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. So when you go to Desmos, you'll be able to answer every problem that's on the test, every problem that's on the CFA. You will be fine. So, all right. So what we're going to do is going to get started. Now remember, if you're on YouTube, you can rewind this video as many times as you need to understand what's going on. Okay? All right, let's get started. So first things first. Now, if I had $1, right? How many pennies is in $1? Pennies in $1 is 100. 100 pennies is $1. Okay? So then if I said how many pennies is, or how many, that's 10 pennies. How much is 10 pennies? Well, when you look at money or something rung up on a cash register, it's always something like $1.10. Notice that right there, 0.10. So therefore, we know that 10 pennies is equal to 0.10. And so if I look at the pattern correctly, 20 pennies is going to be 0.20. Okay. And if you're looking at the 100 pennies, well, if you look at 100 pennies, it'll be 1.0. Okay. So 100 pennies is 1.0. 10 pennies is 0.10. 20 pennies is 0.20. And then we continued on, 30 pennies, 40 pennies, 50 pennies, and so on. Each one will correspond to 0.30, 0.40, 0.50. Okay? So if you understand and see this right here, this is very, very easy. These are just pennies, right? So what I just taught you is that we can also use the P for percent. Now right there here. Percent. Okay? So now we understand that pennies and percent are kind of interchangeable. So if percent is what we're looking at, the symbol for percent is that right there. Now, I want you to understand something. When we look at pennies and percent, everything is taken out of 100. So if everything's taken out of 100, we can also look at the percent sign. When we look at the percent sign, you notice, yes, sometimes it does look like a face, but you notice 1, 0, 0, 100. So when you're thinking about percent, it's always something out of 100. Okay, so that's our first lesson, the first part to this. Understanding that when we talk about percent, we are also talking about pennies. We talk about pennies, they're interchangeable with a percent. Okay. All right, so we're going to erase this real quick. All right, so now we understand about percent. And again, as I said, if you did not catch what I said, rewind the video and go over it again. All right, so now percent. So a lot of times when we look at percent, percent is always taking percent out of something. So if I thought about this and said, if I had 10% out of 100, okay, it would equal 10. Okay. If I did 10% of 200, it would equal 20. Let's do one more. 10% of 300. That would equal, you guessed it, 30. So now some of you are like, well, how do we know that's what that is? Okay, well, I grant you that. Let's go ahead and test it, okay? So we're gonna test the 10% out of 100, okay? So I'm gonna erase this part. Let's look at that. In our last part of our video, we're talking about 10%, all right? 10 pennies, remember that? Remember I put the 10 P? And what did that look like? It looked like 0.1, 0.10. Remember that, right? Okay, remember I told you, when we do percent, we're taking it out of what? 100, exactly. So if I'm taking something out of 100, that means this is 10 out of 100. So if I take 10 out of 100, okay, the other one I want you to think about, word of, that nice little word there, means most time multiply. So I'm taking 10% multiplied by 100. What do I get? Well, when I look at this, this is 10, or this is 100, and this is 100. If I multiply straight across, this is what happened. I will get 1,000, and I come over here, it's a 100. So 1,000 divided by 100 is equal to 10. Well, this is how it goes. 0 cancel out 0, 0 cancel out 0. 10 over 1, 10. That's how it goes. Okay? So I just proved to you that I multiplied 10 out of 100, or 10 hundredths times 100 gives me 10. So 10% of 100 equals 10. Okay? Now, let me show you a trick. Okay? Anytime you have 10% of something, all you have to do is take this imaginary decimal point and move it over one time. See that? 1.0 or 10.0. See that? 10. So if I said 10% of 200, we went over before, but now you know why it is 20. So from here on out, anytime you see 10% or have to take 10% of a number, let's do this one, 237. What's 10% of 237? Well, for now, you understand it's simple. I just moved the decimal place over one time, and now it is equal to 23.7. That's 10%. That was quite simple. So that's how that works. We take 10% of something, we just take the decimal point, move it over one time to the left. Okay? Good. I hope this helps for the first part of percentage.